Hey, I'm William, and on this channel, we work harder, not smarter. Meet Zeddicus, an inexperienced wizard with a simple goal. Plainly spoken, he wants to defeat every dungeon in Wizard101 in order of their release. With over 49 distinct-ish dungeons, it gets complicated later, but for now don't worry about it, our goal is a lofty one. Come along for the ride as we travel through the eras of Wizard101 and induce both nostalgia and a minor trauma response. This is Wizard101 Chronological. Today, our goal is to take on the Throne Room of Fire. Unlike Sunken City, this is our first dungeon that follows the main questline of the game. As such, let's briefly cover the story as it relates to the Throne Room of Fire. Meet Malastair Drake, former deaf professor at Ravenwood and all-around positive guy. He's big mad that his wife died from illness, and he has decided to turn his grief into everyone's problem. He plans to find a way to revive his wife by any means necessary, and to that end, he travels to Crocotopia to claim the Croconomicon, the ultimate tome on life and death magic, for himself. In doing so, he awakens the race of ancient Crocs, who begin to take the world back for themselves. The only group standing in their way is an expedition of both military personnel and archaeologists from Marleybone. So on the one hand, we've got imperialistic colonizers, and on the other, slavers working within a caste system. I'm not really sure who we're supposed to be rooting for here. Malastair, I guess? At least his intentions are good. Regardless, we end up working with the forces from Marleybone, and the head of the archaeology team, Dr. Winthrop. Winthrop is determined to find the Order of the Fang, a group of Crocs whom he believes would be willing to side with Marleybone, and help us understand why Malastair took the Croconomicon. The only problem with this is he has no idea where the Order of the Fang is. To that end, much like Marla Stinger, he journeys with us into the Throne Room of Fire to sit back while we put in the actual work to discover the location of the Order. With this limited amount of information, we bravely head into the Throne Room of Fire, which is, by nature, a misleading name. There's no throne in the throne room, but I guess calling it the Purposeless Room of Fire doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Within the map room, Dr. Winthrop informs us that we will need a serpentine staff to direct the light through the room and properly determine the location of the Order of the Fang. Luckily for us, innocent bystander Prince Manu Narini happens to have one such staff, so we have to go knock his block off and take it for ourselves. Before that, however, we need to unlock the door to his chamber, which is sealed by a puzzle that could potentially be frustrating for colorblind people or those who lack reading comprehension. To sum it up, make fire go red, because fire is red, and open door to fight Fire Boss. And fight Boss we do. Prince Manu isn't anything special on the surface, although he does launch the first rank 4 spell at me, and that certainly stings. However, thanks in part to Rex, our heal-spamming pet, we managed to win the fight and make Manu shower himself in sand. This animation used to see Crocs dissolve into sand when they died, but it doesn't really seem to do that anymore. Not sure why it got changed. Returning to the doctor, he at first ponders why the staff fails to direct the light. After briefly checking his notes, he informs us that we also need the Eye of Croc to get the staff to work. Thankfully, Croc in Common, who I can only assume is Prince Manu's father, has the Eye of Croc. So we get to go beat up the innocent father following the thrashing his son took. To enter his chamber, we have to solve another puzzle, and I use that term lightly, because can you really call it a puzzle if you don't even need to read the instructions? It's sort of like saying, here's a puzzle, press the button to call the elevator. That's not a puzzle, that's just an everyday task. Puzzle rants aside, we're able to quickly dispatch Croc in Common, who drops the Eye of Croc, allowing us to return to the map room. We place the now complete staff into position, and a beam of sunlight shines onto the island of the Crocosphinx, illuminating the location of the Order of the Fang. Before he leaves the throne room for good, Dr. Winthrop adds he has never considered that the Order was on another island. Which, this world is like 6 medium to small islands. Why did you never consider the others in your search? The Throne Room of Fire taught us an important lesson. Most enemies in dungeons just want to be left alone, and we come entering their domain uninvited. While the dungeon itself is very straightforward, I think it's a good introduction to the concept of dungeons in the game, as it's more likely than Sunken City to be the first one most players complete. With that said, the puzzles feel a bit like a throwaway, without really adding much to the overall experience. Taking all that into consideration, I'll give Throne Room of Fire 6 lack of thrones out of 10. Much like the eponymous name being missing from the actual adventure, the dungeon itself is just missing that little extra something that ties it all together. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, be sure to like and subscribe. The journey is only beginning for Zeddicus, as next time he's heading into the Vault of Ice. Have a nice day.